how to catch the jab. Actually, in boxing, it's called Parry.
Peace. Welcome to another episode of the Parry, where we don't pull or duck no punches, and the parry is fundamental to boxing. I am your host, Bomani UFG.
I am the pragmatic Che Black.
Yeah, your screen keep freezing.
My screen keep freezing.
Going on, but... Yeah. You good now? I don't know. You good now though. But anyway, just want to welcome everybody to the episode of the Parry. Want to remind everybody to please jab that like button. Go ahead and uppercut that subscribe button. Lead hook that share button and throw a combination at the notification bell so you can stay updated when we drop new content. Because we hardcores over here, man. Well, what's good with you, Che Blicky?
You already know, man. It's the same fight. It's another round, man. We back at it, though.
We back at it, man. Had a great, I ain't gonna say a great, but a damn good fight card last night. You know what I mean? Jaron Ennis versus Eimantas Stanionis for a unification bout, the IBF, WBA, and the Ring Magazine unification title bout, with Jaron Ennis stopping my man after the 6th round. He said no mas. He didn't want no more. Gave him the Roberto Duran. Also, we had Ray Ford fight Thomas Matisse, which was another good performance by Ray Ford, man. But before we jump into all of that, man, you got any boxing news you want to update us on, Jay?
Oh, we pretty good right as of right now. I mean, as far as upcoming fights, let me see.
I'm pulling up the schedule now.
I got the schedule in front of me. As far as upcoming fights, we have the next week. We have a very great fight coming up. It was the week after, not next week, but the week after. We have Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Ben, which is one of the fights that I'm really looking forward to. But just next week, though, we have Jorge Garcia Perez facing Charles Cornwell on the zone junior middleweight. And May 2nd, Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Ramirez at junior welterweight. Devin Haney returns against Jose Ramirez. And the fight that I really think is going to be the fight of the night on that card is Teofimo Lopez versus Arnold Barboza. I think that's going to be the fight right there. I think Barboza, he's a live fighter in this fight right here.
Well, a couple fights that actually next week we have Dalton Smith versus,
I said Ennis.
Yeah, Dalton Smith versus Mateo Germain. On that card, you got Josh Warrington making his comeback. He's fighting, I think, Assad Khan on that card. Oh, April 19th, you got Sweet Poison, Fundora versus Badillo for the IBF World Flyweight Championship. You know, she's the youngest champion in boxing. Can't forget also on April 20th, you got Ben Whitaker and Cameron with the rematch with Ben Whitaker, you know, pulling the finagle, falling out the ring, claiming he was injured and all this and that, and didn't want to continue the fight. So that rematch is coming up, Whitaker versus Cameron 2. Definitely looking to check that out on April 20th on, I think that's coming on the Zone. It might be coming on the Zone. I'm not sure. It was on, I know it's definitely coming on Sky Sports out there in the UK. And like you said, April 26th, you got Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Ben. On that card, you got Anthony Yard making a return to the ring. He's fighting Lyndon Arthur. You have Callum Smith. Callum Smith is coming back. He's fighting hold on one second. Aaron McKenna on the undercard. You also have on that card, let me see who else we got up here that's worth talking about. Is this one? Yeah, Vidal Riley fighting Siobhan Clark. Vidal Riley making he's coming returning to the ring on the undercard of that as well. So that's look like a pretty good undercard on that night. And like you said, May 2nd, Ryan Garcia versus Riley Romero, with the undercard being Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez and Teofimo Lopez versus Barboza. So some action-packed fights. Schedule was jam-packed with some good fights. So
the day after that, Canelo fights.
You know,
Canelo fights on the 3rd. He's back fighting William Skull for the undisputed middleweight title.
Undisputed.
With
absolutely.
And Bruce, Jaime Mungoa will be on that card as well. Badu Jack will be fighting for the WBC cruiserweight title against Ryan Rozicki. Interesting cards coming up, and then
definitely some good fights.
After that, it's 3 days of boxing in May. 3 days from the 2nd. The whole Cinco de Mayo weekend is gonna be lit all the way from the 2nd to the 4th, because then you got May 4th. Inoue will be fighting Cardenas for the undisputed junior featherweight title, with Rafael Espinoza and Edward Vasquez for the WBA featherweight title on that card. So that'll be it's just the whole Cinco de Mayo weekend is gonna be pretty live.
Yep. Boxing fans, we got a lot for your boxing appetite, man, coming up in the next few weeks, man. A lot of good fights, but I'm definitely looking forward to that Conor Ben and Chris Eubank Jr. fight. Like, I'm super hyped for that one, and be on the lookout for you know what, I'm not even gonna talk about it, but I got something coming out close around to that when that fight happens.
Well, Eubank just slapped Conor Ben at the press conference, which was interesting. I couldn't, part of me said, yo, that looked like a hella slap.
He gave him the egg slap.
Then another part of me said, nah, man, that looked a little staged a little bit, like they kind of sell tickets a little bit. So I don't know.
Nah, he slapped my man with an egg though.
He slapped him
with
an
egg in his hand and slapped him in his face. He slapped him with an egg because when he popped for performance enhancing drugs, one of his claims was, well, he was cleared. Let's be clear. He was cleared, but nonetheless he popped for performance enhancing drugs, and his excuse was he ate tainted eggs. Pause. Yeah, like I don't know. He slapped my man with the egg, man. Crazy. So it's a lot of bad blood. A lot of that rivalry is really hot right now. Considering what they fathers went through in 2 fights. You know what I mean? It was the genuine dislike and animosity between the fathers, and it seemed that has carried over to the next generation. So I'm definitely hyped for that fight.
It was definitely.
But let's get to.
It was definitely sincere.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's get to what? Go ahead.
But let's get to this Boots Stanionis fight card, man. Let's start with the Ray Ford. I'd rather start with the co-main Ray Ford versus Thomas Matisse. Thomas Matisse, to some of y'all, is most known for losing to Isaac Cruz. And Ray Ford, after coming off of losses, losing his title to Nick Ball at featherweight, moved up to super featherweight, had 2 fights, and fought Thomas Matisse last night. And what was your opinions on that fight, man? And Ray Ford, man, Ray Ford won by unanimous decision. Clearly, basically won every moment of every minute of every second of every round. It was the scorecards read unanimously 100-90, giving him a clean sweep. What do you think about Ray Ford's performance last night, man?
I was very, very, very impressed. I actually gave him every last round of the fight. He's recovered. I think he's had a really decent recovery since his loss last June, last June when he fought Nick Ball over there in Riyadh. When he fought over there in Riyadh, then he came back, and this was probably his most impressive win. He was in his home state, New Jersey, representing, coming out of Camden, New Jersey.
Camden.
So, Camden in the building, CMD. He just looked very impressive, and he looks like he's going to be a serious player if he continues to improve the way he has and show the type of discipline he had in that fight, which is what I was actually impressed by. I was really impressed by the type of discipline that he showed in that fight. And, he clearly had him beaten. He was able to rely on his boxing ability and his condition. And, sometimes it's dangerous to put it in the hands of the judges. However, he clearly, every minute of that fight, won that fight.
I thought since he moved up to super featherweight, he looks better. Like, he looks like a lot healthier. He looks like he was in phenomenal shape. His hand speed, his footwork, everything looked good. He's looking like he's better at super featherweight. I don't know what's next for him. The champions at what is he at? 130 now. So you got O'Shaquie Foster with the WBC. Lamont Roach still holds a WBA and his 2 vacant titles. Well, the ring is vacant, and the IBF is a vacant title. But you got Navarrete with the WBO belt, man. So it's probably, if his next step is getting the championship fight, I think him and O'Shaquie Foster will be a good mix-up. That'll be an action-packed fight. O'Shaquie Foster is is entertaining. Kind of reminds me of, I was a big fan of he just retired, man. What's my man name? Out of Cincinnati, man. Damn. Jared Hurd. Like, Jared Hurd to me was a super entertaining fighter. And even in the fights he lost, it was always entertaining. And O'Shaquie Foster is always in action-packed fights. And Ray Ford is a dog. So, if he steps up for a champion, if he get a title shot, I would love to see him and O'Shaquie Foster mix it up. Navarrete is a beast.
I think Navarrete right now he's not ready for a fight like that. He would need a Foster fight. He would need a fight like that. He would need, maybe even a Cordina or somebody, in that division before he would go up into a Navarrete. You know what I mean? Navarrete is serious. But Foster is definitely entertaining. I think Foster would be probably the perfect fight for him.
Agreed, man. But yeah, he put on an absolute clinic last night. Shout out to Jersey, man. Shout out to Camden, man. Y'all got one, man. This kid's looking like he's the real deal. So at 130, it's some food out there for him. Definitely some good fights up at the highest level for him, man. So I definitely would like this. Again, the O'Shaquie Foster Ray Ford fight will be will be pretty dope. Now moving on to the main event. Jaron boots Ennis, Philadelphia's own, beat Earth, Wind, and Fire out of Eimantas Stanionis. Like, man, what a performance, man, from Boots. But give me your opinion on Boots, his performance, and we'll get on into later on about what we think is next for him. But what you thought about his stoppage of Eimantas Stanionis, basically saying no mas in the corner?
I felt like it was like Wise understanding, and the comments said it was clearly a clinic. I think this was a night of clinics. I believe the fight prior to that was a clinic. This was definitely a display of great boxing we got to see. So when you said earlier, as we opened up, you said it wasn't a great, but it was a good. Well, it was a great display of boxing put on this weekend. And Boots Ennis showed that he can really pick somebody apart, and he showed some tremendous speed. A lot of great body work, which is ultimately how he ended up getting this boy up out of there. And I thought this was the type of fight that he needed, to really make a name and really stamp his name, because he's already made a name, but to really stamp his name. And the way he won his championship, his IBF title, to me was less than we called them paper champions at one time. When that's how you got your title. So for him to face another champion, unify that, now he's the unified WBA, and with the IBF, he was able to annex them two together. Also, he was awarded the Ring Magazine, which is a very respected title. It's been respected over the years as an official, unified, undisputed type of title, so to speak. He's definitely put himself as the champ at the 147 division, amidst the disappearance of Crawford and Spence. And this was
the Ring Magazine is you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I said that was his statement. I said that was his statement. That was it. I was just adding that.
Yeah. The Ring Magazine is usually awarded to it's so many belts. So when you get that Ring Magazine, you're looked at as you are the man in the division. You are the actual champ. Like, it's who Ring or that organization decides who they think is the best champion of the champions when you're awarded that ring belt. The other champions at 147, you got Mario Barrios, you have Brian Norman Jr. Holding the WBC and the WBO respectively. So I don't see either one of them guys even being on the same level as Boots. Boots is clearly heads above everybody else in the division. I think it's long overdue. I wish he would have got a chance to mix it up with the likes of Errol Spence's and Terrence Crawford's and all that when the division was hot. But now this is his moment. And, my opinion of last night, man, I'm watching it. I'm like, okay, this man is clearly talented. Like you got certain fighters that you could put them in different brackets, right? You got the highly skilled fighter, the well-schooled fighter, and then you got special fighters who has special abilities. His hand speed, his reflexes, his footwork, his ability to slip punches and counter. Like he's an athlete. And it was clear that on top of just being a better fighter than Stanionis, he was the better athlete. And he seems like he's a very, very special talent, not just at 147, but in boxing as a whole. At some point, you may have to start putting this man on the pound for pound list. I like the way he was going to the body, the uppercuts. He would go southpaw, hit him with the left uppy, orthodox, hit him with the right uppy. He was going to the body with it, hitting him in the jaw with it. If there's one flaw, and sometimes it's actually the slightly flawed fighter, even if they're special, the slightly flawed fighter that puts on the best fights because he still got vulnerabilities. He still can get knocked out. Stanionis was touching him. Stanionis hit us with some good shots, but Boots' power was just overwhelming. This dude's face was looking like mom spaghetti. You know what I'm saying? By the end of that fight, bleeding all over the place, nose bleeding, cut on his eye, and the man just quit. Um, but I feel if there's one flaw to Boots' game is the fact that he's hittable. But that's also why I like him. It's the fact that one, he comes to fight. He doesn't use his athletic attributes to put on, I don't want to say to put on more or less a boring fight, to just stand on the outside and pop shot and make you miss. He comes forward and he throws his shots. He likes the counter. He gets in the mix and he's gonna take a shot to land a good shot. So I'm gonna say he even got a good beard because he was getting hit with some clean left hooks, some clean right hands. Stanionis once in a while hit him with that jab. He even caught him with a 2-1 at one point in the fight that kind of knocked his head back, and he came right back and just start whooping on him. So Boots is clearly at a 147 is just there's nothing there for him. Even the champions that's there for him. I'm not big on watching him fight Mario Barrios. Like Mario Barrios is not in the same league. I'm good on watching him fight Brian Norman Jr. And I like Brian Norman Jr. He's a young fighter. He's up and coming. He's looking like he's going to be a really, really good talent. But it's too soon for him to get in the ring with somebody like Boots. So what's next for him? I say go up to 154 and let's get it on with my man what's the Mexican kid name again, B? Why his name slipping my mind right now, G? What you call it? Damn, what's my man name? Give me 1 second. Pardon me, y'all. I know some of y'all like, yo, you should know this off cap, but his name is slipping my mind right now. Damn, what's his name? At 154, the Mexican cat.
Ortiz.
The Golden Boy fighter. Jay, help me out. Ortiz, thank you. God damn. Virgil Ortiz Jr., shout out to Wise Understanding. Yeah, his name was slipping my mind. Virgil Ortiz and Boots supposed to have fought at 147. Virgil Ortiz at 154 now. That's the fight that I want to see because I don't see Mario Barrios or any of these guys giving him anything. They ain't got nothing for him. Boots is special. They ain't got nothing for him. What do you say?
I say clean up just continue cleaning up the division and make any fight bigger to where you go. There's titles left in your division. So go out there and clean them all up. There's people out in your division still calling themselves champion. You got Barrios and you got Norman Jr., who's undefeated out there. The division is pretty much weak right now. This is the young Dominican kid right now. We got to see what he's going to do. He's still undefeated, but he's very green. Polanco, I think it is. So the division, yeah. It's a weak division right now. You got Santillan. We got Santian. It's just not really. I think that he can benefit and take advantage of the weakness of this division by cleaning it up and then stepping up after you took in every piece of metal there is and out of this division. After you done mine this division of all of the riches, then go on up to 154 pounds, where a fight with Ortiz or any of the other champions, might you got Crawford will be moving up but maybe a fight with a Fundora or Zayas,
Well, here's my thing, because I get it. He can become undisputed and be the next undisputed champion after Terrence Crawford and clean up the division. But what is it? What does that mean now?
It
I'm talking about
means
particularly at 147. I mean, you can do it for the accomplishments.
It means financially when he sits down and negotiate, it's a level of worth he's now bringing to the table. It's like being an Oscar-winning actor. You know, it might not be, seem like it's something that should be so coveted in the long run, but when you think about the financially now, the bankability that creates, he's now the A side in any fight that we can name in the welterweight division. Take advantage of that moment. Make your name, make it possible where if you're not the A side in any fight you fight in the junior middleweight division, that you're at least on par. There's at least a purse parity type of thing. And he has that ability at this moment if he seizes that opportunity, especially with the division.
I get you. I think I understand what you're saying, but here's my thing. He's already the man in this division. You already the biggest name at 147, and honestly, moving up to 154, you will be one of the biggest names in the division. Just moving up to 154. Now I get it.
He is the biggest name. He is the biggest name. How did he become the biggest name? I want you to stop at that statement. Continue, but I want you to stop at that statement and how is he the biggest name? And this is why I say what I say. Yeah, and this is why I say what I say.
At 147, Jaron Boots Ennis, without a shadow of a doubt, is the biggest name at 147. Mario Barrios is not big. He's not.
We already established that part. I'm asking, how did he get that? We already established that he is. I agree with that.
Okay.
How did he become that?
Honestly, he's got that through sheer. Well, one, he's with Matchroom now. I think they're promoting them pretty well.
All right, I'm gonna just help you out. Tap dance. He got there by default. He got there because everybody moved up. He didn't get the fights with those fights. The kings of that division.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's how he got there.
That's fair.
Now it's his turn to.
That's fair.
Now it's his turn. He has the opportunity now to earn it, because that's going to be a voice of a critic, and he has the opportunity right now to silence any critic who can say that. He can actually show that, no, I am truly the best. I earned it. I'm not just the man by name because I was lingering around long enough when everyone left. I'm the man because after everyone left, I took over this division and made it mine. He has that opportunity right now, and that's what I would do if I was.
Well, to be honest, if he was to stay at 147 and clean up all the belts, he shouldn't have fought Stanionis right now. Because other than him, Stanionis is probably the best fighter in the division. He already done took him out and made a cakewalk of it, right? What do you think he's gonna do to Mario Barrios, Brian Norman Jr.? And it's no disrespect to either one of them guys; they're just not on the level.
Create some more highlight reels. Create some more highlight reels. It'll be, it'll be an easy run. Make it an easy 6-month run. It's what, two fighters he has to fight. All of this is like 2 fights, and he probably doesn't even have to fight both fights. But just you got 2 other champions out there,
and they're not going to fight him.
Clean that shit up. I said that they might not.
Mario Barrios may fight him. Brian Norman Jr. is not fighting him right now. It's not happening. He's not ready. I think everybody in Brian Norman Jr.'s corner and on his team knows he's not ready for that level of fight.
I get all of that,
and he's already a title holder.
I think would be the best move for him going next, and that's what I think would be the best move for him going next, especially for his career in the just looking at holistically his career, looking at maximizing the potential in the moment that he has right now, going into his next moment, and that's just how I see it.
Nah, my thing is it's time to make some big money fights. There's no big money fights at 147. Mario Barrios is not breaking the bank. Brian Norman Jr. is even worse than that. Moving up to 154 and fighting Virgil Ortiz Jr., that's bank. That's bank. Not only is it bank, that's legacy.
That's not a big fight.
You fighting arguably probably what?
That's not a big fight. It's a big fight to boxing fans. It's a big fight to people who follow the sport and know who these champions are. I'm going to be honest with you. Any fight that has Boots as the A side of that fight is not a big fight outside of boxing.
Yo, wise understanding. Just tell me if I'm bugging, God. Is Virgil Ortiz Jr. and Boots the biggest fight that could probably be made for him right now? Is that not a big fight? Like,
no,
tell
that's
me
not
I'm
the
bugging.
you
That's a
twisting
big fight.
You twisting it. That's not what I said. For him,
But
yes,
that's a big.
it is. I
No,
said that's not a big fight.
that's a big
I said
fight.
that. No. Let me rewind because you're not listening. You need to listen to me what I'm saying because you're just saying anything now. What I said was it's a big fight in boxing. Inside of boxing, inside of the world of boxing, yes, that is a big fight. Outside of it, the fight is nothing. The fight will not make a lot of money outside of boxing. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that it's not a big fight in a term of what a big fight is. And what I'm saying is make that he has the opportunity to make himself a bigger known fighter to make bigger fights based off of what he can do right now in this moment.
The reality is there's only a handful of people. There's only a handful of people that he could go out there and make that mega fight to get that big money that
there
you're
is
talking
nobody
about
right now he can actually do that with. What he needs to do is create that opportunity. He needs to create, and he has the. I'm saying he has the opportunity to create it. You're looking for the biggest fight for him right now.
There's only a couple fighters.
This is what you're doing.
There's only a couple fighters that will be absolutely
not
possible.
Listening to me because you're still not listening to me. You're still not listening.
I hear you, bro. What you? I hear you. Don't tell me I'm not listening. I hear you.
Because you keep talking about like this is supposed to be his next fight, and that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he doesn't have a real big fight out there on the horizon. That's really, really a big fight. But he has the opportunity to create some really big fights in the future for himself if he makes the right moves right now. If he does the right things right now. Now, what you're telling him to do is look for the biggest fight that he can find right now for himself. And there are fights that
the biggest and the best fight.
Let me finish.
No,
let
not
me
just
finish.
the biggest
let
fight. When I say
finish.
biggest fight,
let
I'm talking about the
finish.
best fight.
I
had to tell you what I was saying, though. Don't twist my word. I'm telling you what I'm talking about.
Let me finish regardless. You said he wanted to find the biggest fights for him right now at this very moment. And what I'm saying is there's no fight. All of these fights can be so much bigger. They can all be so much bigger. He is not a household name. He is not a big name, but he has what I seen from him last night. He has the opportunity to really make himself a much more bankable, marketable fighter. He can really create some big fights and create some serious excitement in the world of boxing, but he's not there right now. And sometimes you take certain fights and you make them too early. It might be a good fight for him right now, but he has the opportunity to make a bigger bag with these fights.
It's time for Boots to fight the best competition he can fight. And the best person that he can fight is Virgil Ortiz Jr. That's what I'm saying. Mario Barrios is not it. That's a cakewalk. Brian Norman Jr. is not fighting him. And honestly, let's look at his resume. Let's take a look at some of the fighters.
I'm not saying whether these fighters are going to fight him or not. I'm not saying whether these fighters are going to fight him or not. I don't think either one of them. I don't think he's going to even do what I'm saying. I'm just saying I think that the best move for him.
I'm saying the best fight for him with the biggest name, probably the biggest payday, and competition-wise, the best fight for him is Virgil Ortiz Jr.
I never disagree
Mario
with
Barrios
that.
is not doing
like I disagree with that though. You keep repeating that like I disagree with that. At the very moment, yes, the best fight, the best fighter he can fight, the biggest fight for him right now is Virgil Ortiz Jr. I don't disagree.
Hold on. Why as I understand it said Boots versus Bachram at 154. Now,
that's dangerous. That's dangerous, but it's too dangerous. It's too dangerous. How much money? Like that fight really make money? That fight really makes money right now. This is prize fighting.
No. We not. We talking about. We ain't talking about money because you know what I mean. We talking about as the fans. I don't really care about how much. Hold on.
That's too dangerous.
I don't really care as a fight fan. I don't really care about the fighter's purse. What they making is irrelevant to me and my entertainment. What I want to see is the best fight, the best matchups that could possibly happen. And
don't we all?
Bachram, and yeah, of course. And Bachram versus Boots at 154. I was just talking about his vulnerabilities and how he could be hit, and Bakram can punch. That's a good fight.
Now that's what I wanted to talk about. I
That
didn't
fight
get to
right
speak
there
on that
what
fight at
showed
all.
me. Say that again.
That's what I wanted to speak on because I didn't get to speak on the actual fight. I didn't get to speak on the fight. You know what I mean? On what I seen
All right, good.
in the fight. Nah, I was saying
Yep.
that's a serious flaw for him though. As great of a boxing clinic he put, you know what I mean? I think that I seen some things that said that he's special, but I also seen a flaw that can seriously shorten his career. Seriously, either from being able to take these type of punches or just not being able to take these type of punches from bigger fighters as he fights better competition. Either way, I seen a serious vulnerability in him with the way he did not use his head movement, with the great body movement that he did have, with the great shoulder movement that I seen him with. You know, I did not see no head movement that it was almost like, yo, my head is an open target and the wrong fighter, and it was straight up. So the wrong fighter, he can get put. Like what I also seen though, and this was the
Nah,
flip
he
side.
made
The flip side is he has the type, and what you said is very true. It be the fighters like the Trinidad's who aren't, you know, they're so offensive minded that defense is going to struggle. I mean, it's going to suffer because of they're
right.
such offensive minded fighters, and these fighters are very entertaining to watch. You know, but they also dangerous for them to themselves in a lot of cases because of that. And I think that we'll see. We'll see if he understands, if he looks at the tapes and sees what the improvements that we're talking about that need to be made.
Yo, and on that note, hold on 1 second. Just take a pause for the cause. Just want to remind y'all to please jab that like button, go ahead and uppercut that subscribe button. Please hook that share button and throw a combination of notification bells so you can stay updated when we drop new content. Follow us on Instagram and X at the Parry 101 and on TikTok at the Parry 101. Jesus. Yeah. Let me say this about Boots. This is what I see when I look at him and his special talent, right? I see now, mind you, I'm not saying is as great as these fighters. I'm just comparing them in regards to just natural talent, right? Like Roy Jones, uh, Muhammad Ali, Floyd Mayweather, right? On top of just knowing how to box, they're athletes. These guys are physically gifted with something that some fighters just ain't gifted with, right?
They have that
Other than
athleticism.
Floyd Mayweather, right? Other than Floyd Mayweather, uh, what do these other fighters have in common? As they got older, they got touched a lot more and got put on their ass a lot more. So what Boots like? Because his style is not you won't teach a fighter to box like him, right? Fundamentally, he's able to do some of the things he can do in there because he's athletically gifted. But as he one moves up on a level of competition, two, as he gets older and those reflexes and things start to slow down, um, he can look like a completely different fighter, right? We saw how Roy ended up looking later in his career. We saw how, what happened, unfortunately, what happened to the great Muhammad Ali as he got older. Um, Took a lot of damage. Roy got knocked out many times because his body couldn't respond in the way that the young Roy could respond. And I think that's the one thing about Boots that I wonder as he gets older and his career, lengthens out, will he end up like these guys to where he's just a punching bag? Because the thing about Floyd, as athletically gifted as he is, fundamentally, um, he was sound. His shoulder roll and his defense was it never slipped because fundamentally he stayed sharp and he has certain principles that he stuck with throughout his fighting career. Roy putting his hands behind his back, doing the chicken thing, and all of that stuff. You can't do that as you get older, and you see some of the things that Boots does in the ring with the little taunts and the tactics that he doing, making you miss, and then looking over the ropes outside of the crowd, like, and the bolo punch. As he get older, I'm just curious as to what type of fighter he turns into as his career lengthens, and he gets on the other side of his prime. But he's definitely a special talent right now that we got to appreciate. But I just want to see him in some bigger. And when I say bigger, I ain't talking about necessarily how much he's going to get paid for these fights, but more so as far as competition level. I don't think this competition is at 147. This competition is at 154. Straight up. His competition is at 150. Oh, one thing we forgot to mention, man, about the Ray Ford fight. Yo, dude only landed 24 punches on him in 10 rounds. That's insane. That's insane. Dude only landed 24 punches against Ray Ford in that fight. Shout out to Ray Ford. I think that's like that's in the record books. I don't know if that's the least amount of punches thrown in a fight, like landed, but I know it's up there. It's up there somewhere. 24 punches.
Yeah.
I think I could have landed more shots than that. But shout out to Ray Ford, man. Yo, we almost out of time. You got anything you want to add on to that, though, Che, before we get up out of here?
No.
All right, man. Yo, once again, I want to thank everybody for joining us on the Parry. You know what I'm saying? Once again, I remind y'all, please jab that like button. Go ahead and uppercut that subscribe button. Lead hook that share button. And throw a combination of the notification bell so you can stay updated when we drop new content. And remember, this is the Parry, where we don't pull or duck no punches. And the Parry is fundamental to boxing. I am your host, Bomani UFG.
I am the pragmatic Shea Black.
And until next time, be up out of here. Peace.
Actually, now we're going to show you how to catch the jab. Actually, in boxing, it's called parrying.